Namaste and welcome to Tune and Frequency. My name is Jeena Joan and I welcome you to this reading. We are going to start with the Soundbowl and then we're going to continue with two decks. I brought the Divine Feminine deck and the regular Frequency deck by Teal Swan. Alright, so enjoy. Let's maybe just start off with putting our right hand on our heart and our left hand underneath our belly button. And you can close your eyes if you like. Just take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. And if you like, you are welcome to sigh or hum or make some noise, whatever feels good to you. Take a deep breath in. One more time, take a deep breath in into your belly. One last time, take a deep breath in. Alright, so let's start with the Soundbowl. You can keep your eyes closed if you like, or you can just observe your body and tune into the frequency with me. Alright, so the first frequency that I heard, it accompanied itself with, like, I want to say there was this visual of something that wasn't straight, it wasn't curved, it was on an angle, let's put it that way. And what I heard was call and respond, and then I could see an E. It was like a very fancy E, but I didn't really know or understand what that E stood for. And so I was asking, like, what do you mean? Like, I got call and response and there's an E, but it didn't really give me the full word. And then only after a while, the E turned into an echo. So if you call and you're waiting for a response, you actually have to wait for the response to drop in. So don't cut off the E because it doesn't stand for anything by itself. Only when it gets to form a whole word like echo, it will resonate, it will make sense. And because it's the word echo, it also means it's not just like, I'm gonna call and you're gonna respond, but the responses of the universe, they will come in wave by wave. They might get quieter and more almost not visible, not audible, not really tangible. They're so finely tuned that you really have to let those outside distractions and the sound go by and stay connected. What was it that you were calling for, that you were asking for? Because it says so. Ask and you shall receive. All right, let's go into it more. This is already very interesting to begin with. Okay, the second one came in immediately because there was something, I want to say, wrong about the second frequency. There was something that didn't feel right, and I could tell right away what didn't feel right was my thumb. My thumb was placed in a different spot than it usually is, and I can tell because the walls of the sound bowl, they don't ring right. And so it's like someone, you know, standing on the brake while trying to get something into motion. And if you ever driven a car and you hit the brake while you're trying to start a movement, it doesn't work. So sometimes there's like the handbrake and you're not aware that you actually pulled the handbrake and you want to go and you want to speed up and you maybe hit the gas. Nothing happens. Why? You have to release that handbrake first. So I did that. And when I removed the thumb and moved the thumb to make sure that the sound bowl does resonate and can, really express in its full sound, it was like it was just swallowed and the sound didn't really go anywhere. It was almost like it was sucked into like a vacuum. And so you maybe saw me hit it again. And only when I hit it again, it was even more full, the sound. Even though that first sound was there, even if it was almost not audible at all, it still made a difference to the second one because it added on. So I want to tell you, like, if you want to start something and you feel like something is holding you back, make sure that you find out what it was that was holding you back and then keep going. And it won't feel like you made a mistake or you did something wrong or this was unnecessary. No, even that misstep is a step towards your goal because it will add on. You will learn something from it. You will maybe change direction a little bit, but it will help you still get there, even though it feels like a setback. Sometimes you have to step back to move forward. All right, let's tune into the last one. Alright, so this last one was quite funny because immediately I saw like an arrow that was straight and going to here, I want to say to the right, but yeah, it created an L. And there was like a lot of outside noise. The parrot's big became louder. There were people talking, some sounds going by. So there was like a lot of distraction. And for me, this was just emphasizing that you need to know where you want to go. You need to be able to follow the directions that you're given and not be distracted by the noise outside of yourself. Because if you listen to the noise outside of yourself and you're not able to listen to that inner direction, then you won't be able to follow your path. So yeah, I really like this reading. I guess I also haven't done these in a while, so it's like extra juicy to me. It just, I don't know, it's maybe it feels just so good that it still works. It's still like that magic is still there. I don't know if you know, but I started doing these tune and frequency readings in May 2020, and I I think I hit like almost 250 readings by now. And yeah, the magic still doesn't stop to amaze me, and it just feels good. I like sharing these, and yeah, if you have never heard this tune and frequency reading before, so what I do basically is I connect to the collective. It is something that I stumbled upon. I didn't know that I was able to do this. I basically experienced it and stumbled upon it while recording myself, because I knew like something is happening. I don't know what, I don't know how or where it's coming from, but it's there. And so yeah, that's why in May 2020 I put up my first video and shared it, and this is where we are. So we got 3 cards while I was talking, and the first and the second one came in reverse, and then we have one straight one. All right, let's see. We got logic, yeah, 33, and I really like that this shows up as like a pattern, and 3 stands for the expression. So when you have logic and we have the numbers and 33, I kind of think of angel numbers. And with what we were talking about before, like call and response, maybe at the moment the angel numbers, they are heightened. They're coming into your life even more so than maybe before. And there is a logic behind it. If you've never heard of numerology, I would really recommend you take a look. If you have no idea where to begin with, I have an incredible book. I'm happy to share your life path number, for example, with you, because there is a certain logic and also a certain magic to numbers. I remember experiencing my the first time that somebody shared my life path number with me. It happened to be on my birthday, and I happened to stumble upon an aura reader. So I went there, and she took a she took a photograph of my aura, and because she found out it was my birthday, she gifted me these pages from Dan Middleman's life path numbers, and what I read resonated so much with me. It completely changed my life. And if you follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, then you will actually see the meaning of these numbers show up in the descriptions of my purpose. All right. So much about the logic and the number. Yeah, as I said, like pattern. Um, people who are like me, people who are neurodivergent, they have something called like a pattern recognition, and it's just something that it excites me. I really, really enjoy like seeing these numbers and basically making sense out of it without it being math. But at the same time, I do believe that this kind of magic and logic, when you look at it from a, I don't want to really say mathematical point of view, but from maybe like a more scientific view, it is quite incredible. Just look up the, what's that number again? You know, the um, relational pattern of Galileo's human, for example, or the wings of a butterfly or the sunflower. All these are in relation to this number, which I forget. It's like with an F, and it sounds Italian. It's the name of a certain person, whatever. But the number is 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, etc. pp. So it kind of continues this pattern of numbers, just adding on the two numbers before. So you can follow that along into infinity, and this pattern is found in so many natural things, and it's quite incredible. And yeah, I find this patterns and the numbers of the universe so incredibly fascinating. You really, I beg you, please look into it, even if you don't get that information from me. But yeah, check it out. It's quite incredible. All right, so the next card that we have is Sexuality, with Sexuality being in reverse. I didn't really go into like the reversal position of the logic card, so before I move on, I want to say that because the moment if you have something in reverse, there is a blockage. So you might not be able to see the logic, you might not be able to really experience these angel numbers because maybe you have a mental block. You're like a skeptic, you don't want to believe in it, or whatever it is. Just let that shit go. I can't really put it in a different way. So we got Sexuality, and there is a block as well. We got the number 6 and the number 2. So 6 again is symbolizes sexuality, the sexual life force is I always kind of put it together with prana, and 2 meaning the balance. So now that I was talking about prana and saying number 2, I immediately think of the yin and the yang, the ha and the ta, the feminine and the masculine, and those energies kind of flow into it. But what I really find interesting here, if you follow this like more blue, dark bluish pattern, in here it looks almost as if it's like 3 strings. So if you go away from this like binary idea of sexuality or duality, and you look into intersexuality or transsexuality, then you will see it's like way more fluid. And you will see in this card also that these kind of strains they're coming from every direction, and there's like a burst of this like pink color and this very joyful experience with all this yellow being in there, and that yellow just flows with that pink. And the pink, it really reminds me of like a lotus flower with 1,000 petals. All right, let's see what it has to do, because we had the mental block of the logic, we had a block here, we had a block in sexuality, and now we get to the third card, which means relationships, and the 9 stands for an ending. So maybe, because when I think of it, like, there is a logical block, there is a sexual block, there's the ending of a relationship. I'm sorry, but are you sexually frustrated? Doesn't your partner bring it? Because you have to address it, you have to communicate it. There is a possibility that this relationship doesn't necessarily need to end, but that phase of accepting things that are illogical, or that it doesn't necessarily have to be your actual sex life, but your creative juices, like your life force, when you feel like you're holding parts of yourself back, then yes, that relationship has to change, or it has to end. Because if you continue with this where it is at the moment, then you are losing your life force energy, you are losing your will to live, you are losing your joy, you're losing a part of yourself, and nothing is worth that. So if you don't want this relationship to end, transform it, use all that information and that energy, and give your partner some insight about like how you feel, or what you're lacking, what you're missing, what you need. Talk about your needs and your wants, because otherwise, who is gonna give it to you, or who's gonna make sure that you actually get your needs met? Like, you have to do that, because if you won't, no one else will. Because why should anyone, or why would anyone, if they don't know where you are and what you want and where you're standing? So coming back to the idea of not having to end it necessarily, but being able to transform it. If you look at this pattern, then you will see like a very colorful kind of pattern that inspires you to see like a butterfly, maybe. So what does a butterfly do? Before, it is this caterpillar, and it goes into a cocoon, or it's not really a cocoon, it's yeah, that word. I know it's something with a C, but I have a verbal block, so to say, to find the word. But this, I'm gonna stick with cocoon, which is incorrect. But the cocoon is a place for the caterpillar to end. Yeah, there is no more caterpillar anymore. Even when it's a butterfly, there is no speck of a caterpillar left, because everything inside the cocoon kind of melts away and rebuilds itself, transforms itself to something completely different. The cells, you cannot compare the cells of a caterpillar with the cells of a butterfly, because they have been transmuted and transformed, and they turn into a butterfly. So then you can fly again. You can, you know, there is new life in you. So that block has been worked away, and yeah, you get to fly. All right, this was quite interesting, and I think it was quite long. I'm really, really sorry for explaining so much around it, but I felt like it's necessary. I haven't done these readings in a while, so I want to remind you that, you know, my capacity is open if you are interested in a personal reading, because these readings, as I said before, I connect to the collective. So I'm reading for the collective. So this might resonate with you, it might not. But if you want me to actually channel your energy, that requires for me to focus on you and have you with me. It doesn't need to be in person. I do these online. I remember my first client was a sweet woman from Netherlands, actually, who found me online, and yeah, all is possible. And if you are in Cologne, Germany, I'm happy to meet you and give you a reading. And if you have any more questions, just send me those. I'm happy to answer. And again, the offer still stands. Just send me your birthday, and with your birthday, I can actually tell you your life path number. All right, I hope you enjoyed. I'm really, really happy to see you here soon for the next reading. And until then, stay tuned and see you soon.